What is up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Not So Stupid podcast. In today's episode, we are going to be breaking down the best ways to bounce back or rebound from a bad decision or a bad day even, or even a bad week. And this is going to be relevant to all goals. You can look at it for any goal as you go through this. I'm going to be using the analogy of dieting more than anything. So I'm going to directly be helping dieters through this, but know that you can use these same principles and same ideas and same mindset shifts if you're just trying to become a better person, if you're trying to become more productive, you're trying to become more patient, whatever thing you're trying to work on. If there is a positive decision for it, positive meaning it's helping you reach that goal of what you want to become, or negative meaning it's not helping you reach that goal or taking you away from that goal. If whatever you're working on has any aspect of that, which most things do, you can find a lot of benefit in the pursuit of that. But again, main analogy I'm going to be working with here is dieters. So getting into it, a lot of this really comes down to how you view that decision in the grand scheme of things. What do I mean by that? So when I say that, using dieters in particular, once again, when a dieter goes through an emotional eating response, right? They overeat some calories, or even they just have dessert and they feel like they shouldn't have dessert. They just have dessert. They feel like that's a very strong negative decision that they just made. They take that and immediately throw out the future of their diet. The future of their diet is completely out the window now, because they had this one dessert right now, and now they're like, oh my God, my diet's ruined. Everything that I'm going to do in the next 2 weeks is ruined because I ate a donut right now. I had ice cream right now, right? It sounds ridiculous when you say it like that, but that's really the thought process that a lot of people have. When they have one negative decision, one slip up, or one day of messing up, right? Everything in the future is ruined. Everything that didn't happen yet is ruined, and you're convincing yourself that it's ruined, even though, again, it didn't happen yet. So a big part of the perspective here is realizing that one decision, one day, 1 week, even depending on the scale of whatever thing you're trying to work on, isn't that big a deal in the grand scheme of things. You know, if the average person, I would say, to have a successful diet should probably diet between 5 to 8 months. If you have one bad weekend in 5 to 8 months, you're likely going to have more than that, right? Especially early on as you get used to getting in a rhythm. If you have one bad weekend out of 5 to 8 months, it's not a big deal, you know. In the same way that if you have kids, they go to school, if they have one bad homework assignment, that's not going to completely fail them out of the rest of the school year, right? It's kind of ridiculous to put that in their head, that this one bad grade, they failed one homework assignment, whether it's because they didn't do it right, they didn't know how to do it, they forgot to do it. One failed homework assignment isn't the end all be all of their school year. They still have so many opportunities to do better. They still have so many days to do better, weeks, months, quarters to do better. And you do just as well. But when you overvalue every single decision and magnify the negatives that you do, you can feel like everything is going wrong, everything is spiraling, and you're never going to get better because you put so much focus on that one thing. And you threw away your power to change things in the future. Because again, if you're saying that I'll never get this right, everything in my whole diet is ruined, you let go of control for every decision you're going to make in the future. Every decision is going to be a negative decision now because you chose to give up and you chose to believe that you don't have the capability to change. And this is the most important thing, is recognizing every decision isn't as big as you make it seem. It's about what you do most of the time, not what you do every single time. And the people that tend to struggle with this the most are going to be people that are all or nothing thinkers, all or nothing dieters, all or nothing productive people, all or nothing schoolwork people that need to have straight A's all the time with everything. But at the end of the day, you could mess up every couple times and it'll be fine. You look at failure as imperfection, but imperfection is a natural thing with being human. And really, when you look at lots of different life things, nothing is ever 100% perfect. People that are the best at what they do are good most of the time. You know, I can always go to basketball players as an analogy for this. Basketball players that shoot 50%, they miss half of the shots. They do right the bad thing, they're missing a shot, quote unquote, the negative thing to winning a game is not scoring. If they miss half of their shots, they are a great basketball player. 50%. If they do 30%, 30 to 40%, if I'm up to date with my basketball, that's an average player. That's a pretty good player. They're not doing any harm to their team. But a great player is 50% of the time making their shots, 50% of the time missing their shots. So they're not 100% perfect, right? No one, if you watch basketball games, you know they're not 100% perfect. There's a lot of missed shots in basketball games. But the best players are the best players because they don't let those missed shots, those missed opportunities ruin the rest of the game for them. If they miss a shot in the first quarter, they're not like, oh my God, this is gonna be a terrible game. I'm not gonna have, we're gonna lose, everything is hopeless, we're not even gonna make the playoffs, whatever. First game of the season, first quarter, it's ridiculous to say that. It's so far from the outcome that you're you know, I don't wanna say this word loosely, but you're pretty delusional to be making claims like that. And it's kind of the same thing with your diet. If week in and week out, you let one decision ruin the rest of your day, ruin the rest of your week. If Monday afternoon you have a pie and that wasn't in your agenda, and you're like, all right, diet's ruined this week, you threw away the next 6 days that you could have made good progress in. You're self-sabotaging yourself and finding comfort in that because you're deciding not to be okay with it, as opposed to doing some of the strategies that we're going to talk about in a little bit. So again, that was one analogy, basketball player. I'm going to use another analogy. If you've ever been at an arcade, if you've ever played this one game where you're in a booth and there's a lot of money circulating in the air, and the goal is to grab as much money as possible. If you miss a catch or if you drop one, you're not going to stop trying to grab the money. You know, you're still going to do your best to grab the money in the time that you have. If you miss one and you're like, oh, this is hopeless, I'm gonna just forget about it, I can't catch anything, I'm done. You're ruining the chance of getting the tokens, getting the tickets. I was gonna say making money, you don't actually make money in that game, but that would be cool. I wish they did have one of those in the streets. I feel like it's a good way for billionaires to spend their money, but I digress. So you continue to grab, you continue to make an effort, you continue to do what you can to reach the goal, which is get as many tickets, get as much money as you can. And this is the kind of mindset that people struggle to adopt when they start dieting in particular, when they start trying to be a better person, when they start trying to be a productive person, or what have you, is that mistakes are normal, mistakes are expected, and they should be happening. But it's what you do after the mistake that makes the biggest difference, right? And I'm using mistakes because this is likely what you're calling it, but I would, again, just call it a negative decision. It's a decision that's not helping you in your pursuit of your goal. And it's not good or bad, but in the specific instance of the goal that you're reaching, it's not helpful to it, right? Whether it keeps you in the same place or it actually moves you backwards, is the detriment here. So there are, let's see, I'm going to talk about 3 strategies in particular that I use with my clients that I think you'll find really helpful to overcome this. The first one is for people that if one thing doesn't go right in the day, they let go of the other day, they let go of the whole day, and they start fresh tomorrow, right? They are going to throw away the whole day. They're going to give up on their diet because breakfast didn't go as well as planned. They missed their morning walk. They didn't do the 5,000 step walk that they said they would in the morning. So they're like, oh, I'll try again tomorrow. The rest of the day is going to be for nothing, as if you don't have another opportunity to do a 5,000 step walk. But there are a lot of people that think this way. And shifting the perspective, maybe the first quarter of your day didn't go so well. Maybe it didn't. Maybe kids were grumpy, they wouldn't wake up, they give you a hard time, it was raining outside, you got a flat tire on the way to work, etc., etc. Point is, A lot of things sucked up your time that you didn't expect, and things didn't go as well as you wanted to. Unexpected things came up. That happens. That's a part of life. Things aren't perfect. Again, as we know life to be a beautiful perfection of imperfections. But that doesn't mean the whole day has to be for naught. Again, let's say it's the first quarter of your day. That is, if you're sleeping 8 hours, there is 24 minus 8 is 16. So 16 divided by 4 is 4 hours per day. 4 hours per quarter, I'm sorry. So the first 4 hours of your day didn't go well. They sucked. You ended up getting a McFlurry at McDonald's because you want to feel good on the way to work, as opposed to whatever normal salad that you get or whatever breakfast you normally make. You didn't do the positive decision, right? That's fine. The first quarter of the day is a scratch. We're gonna call it, we're gonna take an L on that. But you still have 3 more quarters in the day to do better, to make the positive decision, to switch things and turn things around, right? The first 4 hours out of 16 possible hours didn't go so well. But if you have 12 out of 16 good hours, you're gonna have a great day overall. So, and again, goes back to the basketball analogy. If you don't have a good first quarter, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. Even if you're down 60 points in the first quarter, which is unbelievable, people have come back from that in very recent basketball games. So you can come back from your own negative decisions that you made and have a positive day in the end by switching things around later on, or not even switching things around, but just continuing on with the plan that you had in place. It doesn't have to go to waste, right? Again, using the example of someone that missed their walk in the morning. You missed your walk in the morning because things happen, whatever. There's going to be another opportunity to do a 20-minute walk. It wasn't the only 20-minute walk of your day. Just because it's not at the specific time that you had set for yourself doesn't mean that it's all for nothing. So 4 quarters of the day is something I really like to use, because a lot of times, especially if you're a parent in particular, your mornings are crazy and unpredictable, but that doesn't mean your day has to be ruined. It just means quarters of your day, ideally 1 to 2 quarters, aren't going to go to plan. But even if the entire day doesn't go as planned, it doesn't mean the whole week has to go to shit either. I was trying to find another word. That's the first word that came to mind. So doesn't mean the whole rest of the week has to go to shit either. You could have a great next day. You could have a great next 6 days of the week and still have an awesome week. 6 out of 7 days is an awesome week. Doing the things that are propelling you forward, making positive decisions for your goal. So breaking the day down into quarters, 4-hour chunks where you can gauge whether you're doing well or not, and how you can balance things out if things aren't going as well. The next thing I always like to do, this is mostly for dieters, but again, can apply to anyone, is never do 2 in a row. So if you make a not so quote unquote healthy choice or fat loss productive choice, let's say you go out to lunch with a friend, you're going out with a friend, you haven't seen them in a while, they really like pizza, so you guys got pizza at your favorite pizza place for old time's sake. I would, first of all, as a coach, I would love my clients to do that. I highly recommend to never skip an opportunity like that, where you are making good memories, catching up with a friend, and doing something nostalgic like that, or even doing something new with things you both like. That's the whole point of life, is to experience those things with other people. So if you're skipping those things for a diet, you're on the wrong diet. I gotta tell you that right now. But you're on the wrong diet, and you need to work with me to help you get on the right diet. But besides that, let's say you did that, right? You had the pizza, you enjoyed it. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, I highly encourage and highly recommend people to do that. But then, what decision are you gonna make for your next meal? You don't want to do 2 in a row. You don't wanna have another pizza meal a little later. You don't want it to be a donut or an ice cream or a taco meal or anything like that. The next meal has to be a high nutrient dense meal, relatively low calories, maybe a lot of protein, just to balance things out. Because again, this is breaking down the quarters example from earlier, but into meals as opposed to quarters of time. So instead of having another meal of pizza, if you had planned that, maybe people brought pizza into work, you're gonna opt to go with pizza with a friend for lunch, And then later on in the day, you're gonna have fruit, a salad, some grilled chicken maybe, something, again, high nutrient dense, filling, high fiber, high protein to balance things out. So the goal here is to, if you mess up, if you make a negative decision, don't do it twice in a row. If you can limit how many times in a row you can do a negative decision, you're gonna net a positive decision. And again, this goes back to the basketball example, which coincidentally enough is a really good analogy for all this. A great basketball player is shooting 50% from the field. That means 1 in 2 shots is a miss, 1 in 2 shots is a make. An average one is doing a third. So that means 2 misses, 1 make. If you have 3 meals in a day, 2 of them are misses, 1 of them's a make, you're not gonna do well with your fat loss goals, most likely. If you have 3 meals in a day, 2 of them are makes, 1 of them is a miss, you're probably gonna do pretty well. So the more makes you can make, the better. The less misses you can avoid, the better. But it all starts with not making 2 negative decisions in a row and living by that and really holding yourself to that. So that's another great tool. And now this next one again is it's a really common saying, and I like to use this one for workouts in particular, for people that feel like they go into the gym, they don't have a great workout. They start off, the first set sucks. They don't have a good mind-muscle connection. They're not really focused. Okay, well, why can't you do better the next set? You're under no obligation to experience the same things the next minute as you did the previous minute. You're under no obligation to have another set of terrible reps after having a set of bad reps. You can choose to slow down, focus, not get caught up with your emotions, and have a better connection with your workout. You can choose, if something isn't going well right now, if you're not writing well right now, to turn things around and get more in the zone so that you can get more out of it. Sometimes it's just about slowing down and putting more focus on the thing that isn't going so well so that you can do the next one better. So this one I like to call it last rep sucks, next rep better. And it's really a straightforward name. Not a lot of creativity in that name, honestly. I feel like I should have spent more time on it. But it gets to the point, and I feel like it's how most of my clients that I've told this who have understood it, they've taken it to heart, and again, more aspects than just training, which is really cool to see. But again, all of these 3 tools that I just went through, the 4 quarters in the day, never 2 in a row, and the last rep suck, next one better, next rep better, they all work amazingly, but they only work when you have that mindset shift of this negative decision isn't the end all be all for the next week, the next 2 weeks, the next 3 weeks. One negative decision doesn't destroy your future in any way. I should say it doesn't destroy the pursuit of your goal, more accurately. One bad decision, one negative decision isn't going to stop you from actually reaching that goal and being successful with it. And you can see that in any aspect of your life if you really dig deep enough and analyze yourself. If you've ever pursued something and been successful at that thing, it was never without its failures, it was never without its mess ups, it's never without its miscues. But in the human mind, when we do struggle with things when things don't come as easy to us, we can be harder on ourselves and lose sight of that bigger picture. So it starts with being kind to yourself. It starts with recognizing that there's more to it than just any one decision. It's a collection of consistency and not a pursuit of perfection. But thank you everyone for listening to this that stuck around. I hope you found a lot of value in this, and if you did, would really appreciate if you shared this with a friend or posted this on an Instagram story or something like that for your favorite part that you like. But otherwise, thank you guys for listening. I will see you guys on the next episode, and I hope you have a great day.